What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update and yet another Pedro Porro update, as we've got a few journalists talking about Pedro Porro in the last 24 hours. And first up is Ali Gold, and he says some agents I've spoken to throughout the week have suggested that Pedro Porro could be a smokescreen for another transfer. Mario Cortegena says that Sporting Lisbon are maintaining that Pedro Porro will only be allowed to leave the Portuguese club if someone pays his €45 million release clause. Tottenham are keen to sign Pedro Porro this month but are not willing to meet Sporting's price. There will be a key meeting next week between Sporting and Pedro Porro's agents, with Tottenham pushing to sign him. And Ojogo says that the Lisbon derby on Sunday could be Porro's final game for Sporting, with Tottenham ready to make a serious attack to sign him. The club's president Federico Fernandez has been refusing to negotiate a deal before Lisbon face Benfica.
When is that? This weekend?
This weekend, yeah. It's the weekend of the derbies.
I see. So all right, get out of the way, and then we'll get him for a cut price. I feel like it's gonna be a smoke screen. We're gonna do like one of those like puffs of smoke, and then he's gonna be revealed just no one.
Serge
No one's gonna be there. A disappearing act. Look, I don't know who. Why would you do a smoke screen for who? Like, I don't like what a younger wing back who's like one of those younger ones, or Dumfries, or no one. I don't know. I like.
Only Spurs could do a smoke screen for no one.
Why do we need to? Why do we need a smoke screen for an actual good signing?
In fact, exactly. Like any other right back that we've been linked with should be a smoke screen for Porro.
Exactly. That's all the one we really want. And also, like, he has a release clause. You don't need to smoke screen him. Just sign him. It's like I don't get whatever. I don't get all these tactics sometimes. I guess. Look, I'm not in charge of running the football club, so I don't know all the ins and outs. I'll just pay the release clause, but we'll look. I'm willing to see who the smokescreen is if it's someone better, but I think we'd just go for Porro.
Look,
I mean, it's simple.
The names banded about in the past was Wilfred Singo, Denzel, Dumfries, but Joachim Mailer. But I think that
unless you're banging out Hakimi, I don't understand why.
Exactly,
you need a
that's the only
screen.
one. That's the only one that can be better, surely. But like all this stuff is just like so tiresome now. Like, how many days in a row can we speak about Pedro Porro talking about the same thing?
The Daily Porro.
They want 45 million. And Spurs don't want to pay it. That's like basically the only consistent thing about this the whole way through.
And we'll report you the same tomorrow. Don't you worry.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Emerson Royale now. Ali Gold says Emerson Royale is not pushing to leave Tottenham this month, and neither are his agents looking to encourage any advances from clubs. Dan Kilpatrick says Spurs' hopes of signing a new right wing back are being complicated because Emerson Royale and Matt Doherty are both happy at the club. Emerson has attracted interest from European clubs, but has made it clear he wants to stay in the Premier League, and specifically London.
Oh man, it's an annoying situation. I do find it very frustrating when I hear things like that, because I tweeted out on Twitter. It's like off the back of that line. So Dan Kilpatrick says the deal for Porro is complicated because Emerson and Doherty are very happy at Tottenham, and it's like I tweeted out saying the deal for Casemiro is complicated because Fred and McTominay are so happy at Man United. And it's like, I understand, right, you don't want full right backs in the squad, but you can't continually be held back by your squad members when you have a chance to upgrade. Whether it means, you have full right backs, or it means, you put one of them out of the squad. It has to, like, you can't continue with inefficient and deficiencies in the squad just because of these things. Like, how long are we going to go without a right back because we have two right backs who aren't good enough and they're happy in the club? I understand, like, from Emerson's point of view, like, he's 23 years of age. He's just come from Barcelona. He's an ambitious player. He's got like Richarlison and Lucas here. He's got like friends here now. He's only, he's signed for big money. He probably, any footballer at that level is obviously very confident. They back their ability. You don't get to that level if you're not like extremely ambitious and extremely self-confident. But at the end of the day, he isn't what we need in that position. I think everyone knows it. The manager knows it. And even if we're just loaning him out for 6 months, if it means getting Porro in with a view of reassessing the situation in the summer, I think we can do that. But to not bring in the right back because we can't shift him, I just don't think it's a good excuse.
It's called small club mentality. That's what it's called. And any club that is serious about improving their team and improving their squad will get their signings in and worry about the outgoings after that and later on in the window if they can't get it done before then. In my opinion, just get the deal done. If Emerson wants to stick around, he can stick around on the bench or out of the squad, and he'll soon realise that he'll need to leave if he wants to further on his career. And that's just the facts of the matter of the situation. It's just so frustrating. Why is it this consistently the story with Tottenham Hotspur? Every single window, this is all we hear. Oh, we need to get rid of these players if we want to bring players in. No, you get the players in and then you worry about getting the players out the door. Like, it's just so simple. If you want to improve the team, like, obviously, why in God's earth would Emerson want to leave the club? He's got such a great deal at the club. He's playing at right back more or less week in, week out before the World Cup anyway. There's no reason why he would want to leave, because he knows there's only one way after Tottenham, and that's downwards. He's not going to get a better club than Spurs. So it's just so frustrating, and we just need to focus on our targets and then try and get these players out the door. And if they don't want to leave, then don't play them, and then they'll end up wanting to leave at some stage, surely.
Especially, I mean, yeah, exactly. So I just think... I think this is... I hate hearing all these excuses. There's just more and more excuses, and I'm sick of hearing them, to be honest. It just makes me so annoyed when I hear things like that.
Another right back in Denzel Dumfries. Football Italia say that Tottenham, Chelsea, Man United and Bayern Munich all interested in Inter right wing back Denzel Dumfries. I mean, we've heard this quite a lot over the course of the last couple of windows, but I mean, just make a move then if you're interested.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dumfries. I think he's decent. I think he's better than what we have. I think there are better options out there, but I think if we're going to spend money, I'd rather spend it on Porro. That's my opinion. Agreed.
Lucas Moura up next. Mike McGrath from The Telegraph says that Tottenham have chosen not to trigger the option on Lucas Moura's contract and will allow his contract to expire at the end of the season. Dan Kilpatrick says that Lucas has struggled with a tendon injury this term, leaving him unable to train consistently, and he is now able to speak to other clubs about a free transfer in the summer, or could even end up leaving this month. I mean, if we can get another attacker in, I mean, I'll be so happy just to let Moura go on a free this month, to be honest.
Yeah, just get the wage bill, get him off the wage bill, in my opinion. That's the best course of action. I think Lucas is a great guy. I think he's a great influence in the dressing room. I just think he's not good enough anymore to what we need. I think he did serve a purpose at one point, but I think that purpose has been served at this point.
Would you look at Moura's career, Spurs' career, as a success?
Well, we signed him for 25 million. I think just for Ajax, probably yes. But I think
take that moment out.
If you take that moment out, probably not. Yeah, probably not. You have to say he's hasn't been good enough in the end of the day. We signed him at 25 years of age, thinking he's just coming from PSG with the potential of maybe hoping that he would break into the first team, become a regular, get regular goals and assists, improve his consistency. And unfortunately, the same problems he had when he came, he's having now when he left, pretty much. He hasn't really improved as a player. I think he probably had one season, and it was that season when we got Champions League. I think he got 15 goals in all competitions that season. And for a squad player, that's exactly the kind of role it was a perfect kind of role for him that season. And I think he supplemented Kane on really well and stepped up when we needed him. But overall, he hasn't been a consistent supplier of... he hasn't been effective enough in the final third for his quality. And at the end of the day... If you take me back now for that 25 million, I'd probably say spend it somewhere else, but it is what it is.
Would you pay that 25 million just for that moment though in Ajax?
Probably.
Because I probably would.
Yeah, probably.
I probably would. And Lucas Moura, I thought he was really going to make an impact at Spurs consistently with the attributes that he does have. He just couldn't do it consistently in a Spurs shirt, which is hard because we all know he's got the ability. I just don't know what it is about him where you just can't consistently get those moments out of him.
It's his decision making in the final third. It's simple as that. He gets into the final third in really great positions so often in a really consistent basis, but he always decides to pick the wrong option every single time. He'll pick the right option 2 out of every 10 opportunities, basically, and that's not good enough. And simple as that, in my opinion. We're always just waiting for him to explode. He's always on the cusp of becoming a world-class player, but he was never going to reach it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and he had a good start to the season under Nuno. He probably played his best football under Jose Mourinho when he moved him a bit more centrally. But as soon as Kulusevski came in, we just saw what we were missing on a consistent basis. And that's just the facts of the matter. But no two ways about it. I love Lucas Moura. I love what he brought to the team. And I also want to thank him for his service at the club, a loyal servant. So thanks, Lucas Moura, but his time has come to an end. Next up, Marcus Edwards. Dan Kilpatrick says last month Tottenham inquired about Marcus Edwards. However, initial contact has not been followed up upon, and Edwards is now expected to decide his future in the summer.
Yeah, I don't think we should be going for him. I know he did well against Spurs in the Champions League. Obviously, he ran us ragged in the away game, and he scored a great goal in our home game. And clearly, he's a talented player. I just think I don't know how much money he's going to cost, but if we're talking about,
they're saying he's got a release clause of like 50 million or something.
50.
Yeah, but we've got a sell on, something like that.
Whatever.
I think you're talking about, signing him for 25, 30 million if we want to sign him.
I think we're better off going for other options, to be honest, in my opinion. He's 24 years of age, so he's not old, but he's not exactly a young talent anymore. Kulusevski is 2 years younger than him and is far, far better than him. I don't think he comes here with a view of getting to his first team. I just think he'd probably be... I think he's clearly a talented player. I don't know if he's got it in him to be a star in the Premier League or not. I've got my doubts on that. And I think he's decent in Portugal, but it's not like he's getting mad numbers. He's got 5 goals and 5 assists this season, which is decent. But he's not like it's not like he's killed it over a long stretch of time. He's done well, but I don't know if he's the right fit for Tottenham. I guess from a financial standpoint, maybe it makes sense, but I don't know. I think there are better options out there for that kind of money we can get, in my opinion. Well, someone like Terrier, I know he's apparently he's picked up a big injury now, but before, he was probably going for similar money, and he's far better option.
Who would you prefer, Edwards or Anthony Gordon?
I think Edwards, to be honest.
Really?
I think Edwards is a better technical player. He's better dribbling, better shooting. I think Gordon is stronger and maybe more right for the Premier League in that way. But I think if Edwards can adapt to the Premier League, he's a far better player than Gordon, in my opinion, technically anyway. But it's whether he can adapt. That's the question.
Yeah, I'm undecided, to be honest. I think Gordon has got 3 years on him anyway, doesn't he? 21 years of age, Gordon, or 22?
Something like that, yeah.
So he is younger, so he's got more scope to improve. I think Edwards, when he was 2 years ago, wasn't pulling up any trees either. So it's an interesting one, but again, I would prefer not to bring in Marcus Edwards or Gordon and bring in, I think I'd side with Trossard anyway, out of the three. But let's move on. And last story of the day is about Harry Kane. And James Ducker of The Telegraph says that Harry Kane is on the list of players that are being watched by Manchester United as possible replacement for Cristiano Ronaldo. And Romano says that Real Madrid are currently not working on a deal for Harry Kane. The striker is appreciated by Bayern Munich, but there has been no contact with Tottenham Hotspur. And this was following on the report from yesterday saying that Chelsea are also interested in him as well. What do you make out?
The Sharks are circling.
The Sharks are circling, and he's got a real chance of leaving, to be honest.
Well, logically, it makes sense with the whole Conte situation, with him not getting any younger, with him being a year left on his contract. That potential of him leaving isn't going to go away until that's all sorted, until he signs on the dotted line. Those rumours are going to be there, and because he could be a free agent in 18 months, theoretically. So that's always going to be the case. But I'm hoping... I don't think he's making any decisions now. He's going to wait. He's going to bide his time. He's in no rush to make a decision. He's not going to decide now that he's leaving. He's not going to decide now that he's staying. He's going to see how he plays out. Going to see what happens in January. Going to see what Conte thinks of the situation. Then he'll assess. Most likely either later in the season, when or in the summer. It might be the case, we wrap up. We're in top 4 in April and we're wrapped up, and Conte likes the project, and he before the end of the season he signs. But I think the more likelihood is we'll have probably at the end of the season they'll assess it, and then they'll come to a decision. So hopefully, look, I'm begging for him to sign, but it's very much up in the air for sure.
Let's say, for argument's sake, Conte does leave. Harry Kane wants to leave. Do you let him go in the summer, or do you hold him to that contract right till the end and still try and convince him over that next year?
I think only think if it's abroad, then I think you really got to consider it. If it comes to a Premier League club, if you're looking to compete with these clubs, you can't be giving their asset, your best asset to them, and pretty much you're going to put yourself back so much by doing that. At least if it's abroad, at least you're not in direct competition with him week in, week out. But I think if he's publicly, or if he tells Spurs, like, I'm not signing, I think you have to consider selling him, because you'd be silly not to take that money, and then at least you can go for like a Lautaro Martinez or something and have that money to spend. Like if you just run down his contract and then he goes on a free, obviously you're going to have to spend, but it's going to be extra expenditure on the club, and he's going to have left anyway. And there's no guarantee that if he wants to leave and he's not believing in the project anymore, that we're not going to see the Kane that we did back in 2021, which I never thought I would ever see, that Harry Kane, to be honest, and that kind of was an eye-opener in a way. But we know a fully committed, fully contracted Harry Kane is one of the best strikers in the world, but with a year left of his contract, that's not a situation you want to be in. So you'd have to sell, I would say. But if it's, he would want to stay in the Premier League, that's the awkward thing. So if a Premier League team comes in for him, you have to charge a premium, but it's a difficult situation. Difficult situation.
Very difficult.
Abroad, I think for sure sell, but when you're talking about a domestic team, I'm finding it hard to say sell.
Yeah, I know. That is the situation we're in at the moment. That is your Tottenham update. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.